everyone, welcome to a Let's Build of Professor Gabriel Eon, Camilleo's gadget guy and the scientific genius of Fodum. Another highly requested Let's Build. I'm sorry it's been a while. Everything I do takes me a while. You guys should know that by now, that I am a slowpoke. But yeah, so this is also the first Let's Build with my new camera, and the lighting is kind of weird because I don't have the specific lights that I would want, so there's going to be a lot of weird shadow situation going on. But yeah, people have really wanted a Professor Eon Let's Build, so here you go. This one's not going to be as complicated as Camilleo's or something, because he's pretty simple. But I wanted to wait to make this until after Fodum 6, because, spoiler alert, major spoilers, if you have not seen Fodum 6, do not watch this video. There's a big reveal about him at the end where he was a clone the whole time during the Camilleo's birthday video, a Christmas special, and in the Double Date short. He was a clone the entire time, which is a big reveal later on, right at the end of the episode, and I wanted to wait until after that reveal was done so that I could talk about the reveal, talk about some questions I've gotten about that reveal, and talk about the character in general, as well as share the one piece of concept art, of horrible concept art, that I have for Professor Eon here. So, I'm going to deassemble this guy and we'll get into it. Okay, so this one's going to be a little weird the way it's set up. I just really haven't, I've only built Prof like once, so I'm setting up in a way where I'll remember it. Sorry the lighting also changed. I wanted to rework that a little bit. But so here's the head and the arms. And yeah, the first thing I'm going to talk about is well, where did the idea of Prof come from? And the first thing I'll show you, I think his idea is pretty obvious. Here's the only concept art I have. It's pretty gross. I know I'm not going to show it that long because it's kind of disgusting. I really didn't do a good job drawing it. He looks like a Bayformer, for goodness sake. It's gross. It's awful. Anyway, so the idea for Prof is that Fodum is a story that needs a lot of exposition, and just by the nature of it, the idea of the whole series is that, the multiverse and sci-fi, hardcore sci-fi, and even time travel at sometimes, and all this other ridiculousness that would really require a lot of exposition to be given. And I really needed, and in the Back to the Future movies, those are also movies with a ton of exposition. And it's been said before, but if you really want to do it, if you really want to have scenes with exposition and not have them be boring, you put Doc Brown in your movie, because he can explain any sort of exposition in an extremely entertaining way. And that's essentially what I did. But that was just initially the core idea, but that's obviously not a good enough reason to introduce a major character to the cast. I wanted to introduce the idea of Camilleo having a family, was a big deal for me. And I wanted to have the idea, the concept of him slowly but surely throughout the Tomorrow War, and throughout the whole series, starting off on his own, and then by the end having an entire family. So that's why Prof and Faria and Ghosty get introduced, is the idea that I want to give Camilleo a family. And so we had the mother figure with Faria, and so Prof is sort of Camilleo's father figure. Sorry, you can't really see what I'm doing here. I'm just attaching these pieces right here, like this. By the way, you don't need to cut this gray piece. I just cut it so that there's a little lip at the end, so that it doesn't detach that easily, but it still detaches all the time. So yeah, pretty simple right here with the arms and the head. I'm going to take the torso now. Okay, so here we go with the torso. So I really wanted to introduce a family for Camilleo slowly but surely throughout each of the episodes. And Prof is the guy for that. I also really like the idea of giving Camilleo a tech guy, a guy who can make technology for him. And obviously the character who can explain all the big complicated exposition. So I introduced Prof. But I didn't really want Prof to be just a complete clone of Doc Brown, even though he really pretty much is. I wanted to introduce a few different things about him. So he's got the Crimson Crusher, which is his big boxing robot. Don't ask for a Let's Build on that. That thing is decimated. It's not built. And I wanted to make him a little different with that, by giving him that little piece of technology. And then I also wanted to introduce the idea that Prof has a lot of history to him, and we don't really get a lot about Doc Brown's history, but Prof does have a lot of history, and that's hinted at by showing that Prof loses his temper, and we never really see Doc lose his temper. Doc isn't that kind of person in Back to the Future, but Prof, I wanted to make him more human and have more flaws, so that moment where he loses his temper on Renzo at the end, after Camilio dies, I wanted to show that he is different than Doc. He's got some differences. Yeah, and Prof, Doc, whatever. Prof was also fought his way into the Spaceverse. He's essentially the story's... Oh, shoot. Hold on a sec. I need to look at my phone to see how I built this body. He's essentially, my way of getting into the Spaceverse. And his lab was also a nice way to introduce a key location. A location that, the characters can return to... can return to throughout the series, to have a home base, basically. Okay, so he's also our way into the Spaceverse, and to give the audience a look into the Spaceverse, and to give Camilio a home base. And that was a big important thing for the story, and to set up future stuff. I needed that character who could be, this is weird and complicated. Okay, man, Prof's build was weird. Alright, his build is super weird. So I believe he goes like this, and then you put this piece here, and then these pieces right there. So yeah, and I needed a father figure and a more mature character, a more laid back character for Camilio to learn stuff from, and that's essentially what Prof is here for. And he's also just a really likable, fun character. I can't think of anybody who doesn't like Prof. Because who doesn't like Doc Brown? So yeah, and now someone's gonna comment, "I hate Prof. He's the worst character of all time. I hope he dies." Someone's gonna comment that now. So yeah, that was the idea behind Prof. And so now I need to start getting into this twist, because his idea isn't as complicated as someone like Ghostie's. But he has a big twist, obviously, in Bottom 6 that I really need to get into. So that twist was planned a couple months ago. I don't remember specifically, but it was not initially going to be part of the episode. But I decided to put it in there because I figured it fit really well, and I really wanted to... I needed to introduce a new plan for the Cataclysm, because the idea that... Yeah, I mean, people haven't caught on to this. They're like, who's that weird shape-shifting man? Well, I mean, whoever it is, whatever it is... It obviously works for the Cataclysm because it says one will be all and all will be one, and that's like the Cataclysm's mantra. That's basically like it saying Hail Hydra. That's what it's doing. So it works for the Cataclysm. That's what that is. I mean, nobody says that if they don't work for the Cataclysm. You know what I mean? So that's like the Hail Hydra of Fodom is all we want, one will be all. There's no reason why anyone would say that unless it works for the Cataclysm. So I needed to have the Cataclysm have a new plan, and I needed it to adjust. I didn't want to just abandon it and just not have any sort of inclination of what's next. Of like, okay, now it's gone, now what? I didn't want to do that. I wanted to be like, okay, there's a change here. You know, Camilla goes back in time, stops it, so there's an obvious change to its plan. It's taking a more subtle route. We don't know exactly what its plan is, but we know that it's now using this clone, because the clone says all be one and one will be all, because why else would it say that? But using the clone to get to Camilio in different ways. It's changing its plan. It's no longer just brute force. It's no longer just, I'm going to eat all the universes. Now it's much more, like, okay, now it's got more of a complicated plan. And that's what that scene is supposed to show, is supposed to show the Cataclysm's new plan. So that's the idea initially behind it. And also I needed something, I wanted to take advantage of the fact, because a lot of people were like, why would you release Bottom 6? Why would you set all these shorts and all these holiday specials after Bottom 6 before Bottom 6 comes out? Because now we know what happens to all the characters. So why would you do that? Okay, well you don't, because Prof was a clone the whole time. And I wanted to use that to my advantage. I wanted to use the idea that there's this missing piece of the puzzle with Bottom 6 to my advantage by revealing that one of the characters in those shorts was a clone. So there's an obvious purpose to releasing Bottom 6 afterwards, because it's the missing pieces of the puzzle that completely changes the way you look at those episodes, which was intentional. That's what I was trying to get through. So, and so while it also proves that no, you can never say this character's safe because I saw him in a later episode because Prof wasn't safe, it also reveals why Bottom 6 comes out and why it's structured the way that it is, because it completely makes you rethink those other episodes, which was purposeful. This episode comes out afterwards, so you rewatch those and go, oh my goodness, I was missing these pieces of the puzzle, that in hindsight, seeing it completely changes the way you see many of those scenes in parts of those episodes. That was the whole reason why Bottom 6 comes out afterwards, and why all this happens. And I figured this would be pretty obvious, but I mean, I understand people don't put... I'm getting called. I understand why people don't put... Like, people probably wouldn't think of that and all that, but that's the idea behind the whole clone thing. And that's the idea behind that twist at the end. And I'm not going to reveal too much about the twist or what it means, but, yeah. So yeah, sorry if that came across as a little ranty. I wasn't trying to rant, I'm just really excited to finally be able to talk about this because I've been planning it for a while, so that's why I'm getting louder and louder, is because I've been waiting so long to talk about this, and I'm really excited to finally do it. I'm not mad or anything, I'm just really excited. So, yeah, alright, the legs are extremely simple. So that was the idea behind the twist. And now it establishes this idea that no character under any situation is safe in Fodom. I'm not afraid to replace a character with a clone. I'm not afraid to kill someone off. No character is safe. No matter where it takes place in the timeline, I could literally... You should be consistently nervous for every character. And that was the big thing, was to establish that feeling of uncertainty. Now for the rest of the series, you have. You'll be like, well, you really cannot take anything at face value now, and you shouldn't. If you're a wise viewer, you will take nothing at face value. And that's the idea. And it also reveals that the Cataclysm has these clones, so anyone could be a clone now. Now, I'd probably show them be a clone, or maybe I wouldn't. Maybe I would just reveal it out of nowhere, but it has this ability now to make these clones. So anyone could be one of these clones. And that's the big concept. Now here's the part you can't replicate, is this. This isn't even on like a... I wish I could say, oh, if you buy G.I. Joe freaking waste disposal guy. No, this is a cape that was sewn by my grandmother. It's one of a kind, so you can try and replicate it if you want, but there's nowhere you can buy it or anything. So, yeah. And I'm going to remove these. They help when putting the whole figure together. So that's the idea behind the twist, and as far as revealing certain things like what has Prof been doing the whole time, I can't talk about that. You will find out in episode 7, I can say that. When is episode 7 coming out? I don't know. I haven't even started filming it, not even done writing it, okay? I've got a first draft I need to go back and rewrite, alright? I don't know. There's no way for me to know when these things come out. I had no idea when Bottom 6 was going to come out until like a day before it did come out. That's why, so... I don't have like a release date set. It's as soon as I finish it is when I release it. So yeah, that's all I can say about that. But Prof is one of my favorite characters. I mean, I love most of the characters, but Prof seems to be one of my and one of the audience's favorite, and one of your guys' favorite characters. People really like Prof, and I think you'll like him even more once he comes back. And once we see what he's been doing and we see how he's changed, I think he will slowly become one of everyone's favorite characters. He's got a lot of great moments in the next arc, which I can't say the name of the next arc. I can't talk about the next arc. Nobody asked. But yeah, so that's essentially Prof. That's his whole shtick. That's his deal. And that's the idea, is when coming up with him. Now this episode was a lot harder and more convoluted than all the other ones, because I had a lot more to address with like Bottom 6 and everything. But that's everything. I don't know what else to talk about. I'm sure there's a lot more I could talk about, but I don't want to make it too long, and I got places to go. Actually, right after this video is recorded, I'm kind of putting some people on hold right now, which is rude. Don't do that, guys. Be ready when you're supposed to be ready. Don't be a Thatch. There was a lot to get out in this one episode. I feel bad for the guy because I had to fit a lot in here. But yes, Prof was the father figure for Camilio, the exposition figure, the tech guy, and are into both the Spaceverse and to the concept of time travel. If you notice, the very first idea of time travel is introduced with him when he says, you must be able to time travel as well, not only multiversal travel. The idea of time, and that he's an old man, is very key to the character of Prof. He's the oldest. He's an older character to reflect on Camilio's youth. So time is a big part of him, and a big part of his story arc, and a big part of his themes in his place in the Tomorrow War arc. And all the idea that Camilio saved someone in the past who is now grown up and an old man and who is still thankful for what he did, and the idea that your actions in the past can really have an impact on people in the future. So that's the idea of Prof. He's a big character. He's going to stay with the series forever. He's not dead. All right, he's in the nil dimension. I'm really happy everybody's taken a liking to him. I'm really happy people have, thank you all for I've gotten so many kind words about episode 6. Thank you all so much. It's really appreciated. I really appreciate all of that. Thank you for responding to the character and to the series. It really means a lot. I would not be doing this without you guys. The next Let's Build will be on Paladin Steve. So, thank you for watching, and goodbye.